Here's something strange to think about. Every chicken you've ever eaten came from a chicken family with a mother and a father somewhere. But look inside a carton of supermarket eggs. Where are all the brothers? Hens lay eggs. Roosters never do. That one small fact creates a strange puzzle for egg farms everywhere. About half of every hatch turns out male. So what happens to all of them? Do farmers raise these males for meat instead? Do they grow up into roosters on the farm, or do they just quietly vanish from the system? And why did humans build a food industry where one sex of an animal became hugely profitable while the other became nearly worthless? The answer starts with one tiny biological difference, and it reshaped the whole chicken industry over time. First, let's clear something up. Male chickens can absolutely be eaten. There's nothing dangerous or inedible about rooster meat. People have eaten roosters for thousands of years, across nearly every culture on Earth. The real question isn't whether male chicken tastes fine. It's why males aren't raised for meat the same way specialized meat breeds are. And that answer comes down to cold, hard economics. Here's the twist. Chickens today are basically two separate animals wearing the same feathers. One type gets bred purely for eggs, the other gets bred purely for meat. They're technically the same species, but humans pushed their biology in very different directions over decades. A modern laying hen is an incredible machine. She can produce hundreds of eggs across a single year. But a male chicken cannot lay a single egg, ever. That sounds obvious, but think about what it means for a farm chasing profit every month. It needs females fast, and lots of them. Feeding a male for months costs money for nothing. Worse, those males usually aren't great meat birds either. They're smaller, grow slower, and waste feed compared to broilers, which reach market weight in just 6 to 8 weeks. An egg-laying breed isn't built that way at all. Her body is built to produce eggs reliably, not muscle quickly. So raising her brothers for meat rarely makes financial sense. This is where humans made a strange decision decades ago. Instead of one all-purpose chicken, we built two specialized ones. Picture 10 products built slowly by one machine, or 10 machines each built for one job. The second option usually wins on efficiency every time. That's essentially what happened here. The chicken on your dinner plate almost certainly isn't the same kind that laid your breakfast egg. They come from entirely different breeding lines, built for entirely different jobs. Broilers get bred for rapid growth and heavy breast meat. Layers get bred for non-stop egg production across a lifetime. These two birds are now separate tools wearing identical feathers, and that gap creates the whole male chick problem. A hatchery producing layers only needs females in massive quantities. Historically, small farmers kept a few roosters for breeding and ate or sold the extra males locally. Modern hatcheries run at industrial scale instead, producing huge numbers of chicks weekly, far more males than anyone actually needs. Male chicks were often killed shortly after hatching, a practice called male chick culling. It remains one of the most controversial parts of modern egg production today. The issue was never that males are useless by nature. It's that the harsh economics make them hard to use profitably at scale. Eventually, humans started searching for a better answer, and this part gets interesting fast. What if you could tell an egg's sex before the chick ever hatches? Then hatcheries wouldn't need to hatch unwanted males at all. Scientists developed technologies called in-ovo sexing, which try to identify a developing embryo's sex while it's still inside the shell. If it's male, that egg gets removed early. If it's female, it continues developing into a future laying hen normally. It's an attempt to solve an old biological problem with new technology. But there's also a much older fix that predates all of this. Just eat the males. Plenty of cultures already do, cooking older roosters into soups, broths, and slow-cooked stews since their meat runs tougher. That doesn't make it bad. It just needs cooking low and slow. Young males can be raised as meat too, but broilers still win on efficiency. That's why your typical supermarket chicken usually isn't a rooster pulled from an egg farm. It's a purpose-built meat bird from a separate farm entirely. Now here's the genuinely strange part. Humans didn't originally domesticate chickens purely for meat. Early birds were likely valued for eggs, meat, fighting, feathers, status, and even religious ceremonies across ancient societies, long before farming turned industrial. Roosters were sometimes extremely valuable creatures, far beyond food. In certain societies, a rooster wasn't something you casually ate. It was something people admired and respected, its crowing announcing the morning, its boldness linked to courage and status. Cockfighting spread widely across many ancient cultures. Male chickens carried real value well beyond the dinner table in ways money can't easily measure. The modern problem appeared once agriculture became fully industrialized. Once farms started producing billions of chickens annually, every unnecessary animal became a measurable cost. Food, space, labor, housing, transportation, all adding up fast. A male chick from an egg-laying breed simply can't produce eggs, full stop. And he isn't an efficient meat bird either compared to a purpose-built broiler. So the industry keeps asking one cold question: what's the cheapest way to produce only the females we actually need? That question created one of the strangest situations in modern agriculture. A healthy, living animal can become economically worthless simply because it was born male. That's not biology making that call. That's the production system deciding an animal's entire worth, coldly and quietly. And there's a bigger lesson tucked inside this story. Humans have reshaped domesticated animals for thousands of years, not just chickens, deciding which traits matter most economically, then breeding those traits again and again across generations. Eventually, the animal itself changes almost completely from its wild ancestor. The modern chicken is a perfect example of exactly this long, quiet process. A wild jungle bird slowly became an egg-producing machine on one branch and a meat-producing machine on another. Somewhere along that journey, the male offspring of the egg-laying branch quietly became an economic problem nobody quite knew how to solve. Caught between two industries built entirely around efficiency, not around the bird itself or what he could actually offer anyone. So why don't we eat male chickens more often? Honestly, sometimes we actually do. But in most modern egg production, males aren't raised for meat since they come from breeds built for laying, not for growing meat efficiently. The industry doesn't need them for eggs, and raising them as meat usually costs more than it earns back. So the math simply doesn't work. The male chicken didn't disappear from your plate because he was inedible. He became uncommon because humans optimized the whole food system around raw efficiency instead. The chicken in your fridge, the one on your breakfast plate, and the one wandering a farmyard may technically be the same species, but after thousands of years of selection, they no longer do the same job. We took one wild bird and turned it into an egg machine, a meat machine, a breeding animal, and a farmyard alarm clock, all at once. And the male chicken himself ended up caught right in the middle of a system humans quietly built around his sisters, valuable only when the cold economics happened to work out in his favor.